How's it going, guys? It's Red, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys a super powerful melee setup that you guys can be using right now in Back 4 Blood. But before we get into that, if you're new here to the channel, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more awesome Back 4 Blood content just like this. Also, make sure to check out the link to my Discord server. It's going to be down in the description below. You guys can use it to find teammates to play Back 4 Blood with, so if you guys are in some dire need of teammates, make sure to come check out the Discord server. And without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, so here we are in the deck building menu in Back 4 Blood. This is going to be the complete deck list, so if you guys are just looking to copy and paste the deck, now is your time to do so. But for the remainder of this video, I'm just going to be talking about what role every card plays in the deck and just everything like that. Now, the general game plan that you guys are going to be having when you are using this deck is you guys are going to be on Common Infected Patrol. And that is simply because no one deals with mass amounts of Common quite as efficiently as a melee player. And like the melee decks, they get a lot of extra value from killing Common that like just most other decks don't do. Also, being a melee player, like you have to take a lot of your stuff like right up close and personal with the Ridden, and you would much rather do that against a small pack of Common Infected rather than like, you know, more than one Special Infected. So you're basically always going to be looking to be like the front line of the team, and you don't usually want to go out of your way to challenge and one-on-one Special Infected, but there are a lot of cards in this deck that make it so, you know, 1v1ing and having to kill Special Infected isn't that bad, but you do want to always keep in mind that you are the common guy and you want to not go out of your way to kill them if you don't have to. Now, the first category of cards that we're going to be going over are all cards that are going to make our attack speed go up, and that is what's going to make the melee deck itself so good at dealing with just packs of common. It's just because we're going to be able to swing our melee weapons so incredibly fast, and that's going to start with Meth Head, which says each melee swing grants 5% melee speed and 5% melee stamina efficiency for 6 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. And our melee attacks are no longer going to stick in tough enemies, but it disables our aim down sights as the downside. Up next, we got Brazen, which gives us plus 15% melee stamina efficiency and plus 20% melee attack speed. And to round this category off, we have Slugger, which is going to give us plus 5 health and plus 10% melee stamina efficiency and plus 20% melee attack speed. So all these cards essentially do the same thing. They make it so we can swing faster and use less stamina than what we would originally have to use to swing our melee weapons, making it so we can swing them even faster than what we're supposed to, and we can swing them for even longer than what we're supposed to. And that's just going to make killing packs of common incredibly easy, and this is the reason why we are the common person of the group. Now, the next category of cards that we have is going to be our stamina cards. Now, with us being a melee deck, our stamina bar is obviously very important. It is basically just like our ammo bar, so we have to do a lot to our stamina bar in this deck. And to start it off, we have Adrenaline Fueled, which says when we kill an enemy, we gain 5 stamina instantly and an additional 7 stamina over 7 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Up next, we have Rhythmic Breathing, which is going to give us plus 40% stamina. And to round this category off, we're going to have Natural Sprinter, which is going to give us plus 100% stamina regeneration, but minus 50% maximum stamina as the downside. So the reason that you're going to want to play just these stamina cards specifically as opposed to other cards like cross trainers and stuff like that is because I honestly don't think that you need to mess with your stamina bar in your deck really any more than what we have here, because Adrenaline Fueled is going to make it so you basically never run out of stamina, because this card doesn't say specifically when you melee kill an enemy, it just says when you kill an enemy. So even if you're completely out of stamina, you can still just bust out your primary weapon, shoot a few common or what have you, and then you should have your stamina back and absolutely no problem. And Natural Sprinter is an absolute all-star in this deck with the super high stamina regeneration. It makes it so we basically never run out of stamina, even if we're just, you know, swinging our bat non-stop. And the minus 50% maximum stamina does sound like a steep downside, but we're also playing Rhythmic Breathing, which is also just going to give us almost another half, you know, percent of our stamina than what we would start with. I've personally just noticed that in previous versions of Melee, I've played more stamina cards and less cards that focus more on my damage output, and it's made it so like, yeah, I got a lot of stamina and I never run out, and that's never even been close to a problem, but sometimes I can't kill stuff because I just don't do enough damage, and I felt like stamina was one of those categories that I can maybe trim a card or two from to, you know, help other things in the deck. Now, the next category that we have is going to be damage and weak spot damage for the deck. And to start this off, we have Berserker, which says each melee kill grants 5% melee damage, 5% melee speed, and 5% move speed for 4 seconds. Next, we got Mean Drunk, which gives us plus 40% melee damage, and our melee attacks cause cleave through enemies, dealing damage in a large area. Now we got Spiky Bits, which is going to give us plus 15% melee damage and plus 20% damage resistance while using a melee weapon, but minus 15% ammo capacity as the downside. And to wrap up our regular damage cards, we have Heavy Hitter, which is going to say melee hits always stumble ridden the first time they are hit. This effect can only occur once per target. And the last two cards in our damage category are just going to be two weak spot cards, Reckless Strategy and Killer's Instinct, both giving us 30% weak spot damage and one of us giving minus 5% damage resistance as the downside and the other one taking our ADS away as the downside. But that's not really that bad in this deck because Meth Head, the very first card in our deck, takes away ADS. So, I mean, we kind of get access to a lot of really cool cards when we get our ADS disabled. Like, you could also play Motorcycle Helmet if you want to. I personally don't feel like it's needed, but this is just another cool card you have access to because, you know, your ADS is disabled. Now, Berserker, Mean Drunk, and Spiky Bits, these are all pretty self-explanatory. They're all just to make it so our melee damage actually matters. Like, we can actually do a considerable amount of damage with our melees. And Spiky Bits is also cool because it gives us extra damage resistance. And since we're not playing a card like Motorcycle Helmet, just having access to that extra damage resistance tacked onto a card that already gives us damage is really good. And a really, really important card in this deck is Heavy Hitter, because this makes it so every time we challenge a Special Infected, the first time that we hit them, we're always going to stumble them. And that's just very good for a plethora of reasons. It's going to make it so anything grabbing your teammates is just going to auto let go. It's going to make it so basically every time you challenge a Special Infected and hit it, you're going to be able to get the opportunity to basically find his weak spot and hit it, or just hit him a bunch of times over and over. And depending with what melee weapon you have, that could just be good enough. Like if you got something like a hatchet or a fire axe and you're running up to like a tall boy, you don't even have to find his weak spot. You just got to hit him once, trigger Heavy Hitter, and then just keep hitting him over and over and over again. And the reason we want to play weak spot damage cards in this deck, and these ones specifically, is because, well, we need to challenge Special Infected every once in a while, like I said at the beginning of the video, and it does really make you a big liability to the team if you can't challenge Special Infected at all. And if your only way to challenge them is to pull out, like, your secondary, or, like, your shotgun or what have you, and just, you know, no-scope into them with, like, you know, not very much accuracy, that's obviously not going to help your team a lot. So having cards that help you deal with Special Infected specifically is going to be really helpful for this deck. And I mean, the reason to why we're playing like these ones is because like there's just no other good ones that help melee specifically. Like you don't want to play hyper focused because like this one also slows you while you're melee attacking, and I'm not really looking to do like the Hellfire thing or anything like that to make hyper focused worth it. And I mean, you don't really want to play a card like Ridden Slayer because it's just not better and not more synergistic than like any of these cards in the deck. Now, the next two cards that we're going to be looking at are both going to be health cards that are going to make us, as the melee player, a lot more self-sustainable. And to start it off, we have Battle Lust, which says melee kills heal 1 health and 0.125 trauma. And the next one is going to say Face Your Fears, which says heal 1 temporary health whenever we kill a Ridden within 2.5 meters, basically saying we get 1 temp health every time we melee a zombie. So every single time you kill a Ridden, you're going to get 1 health, you're going to get 1 temp health, and you're going to start making, you know, progress back at your trauma to get more health back. And when you multiply this by, you know, however many 100 of common you're going to be killing every single time, it's going to make it so you essentially never die. Unless you just keep getting hit by specials over and over and over again, like you should just be killing enough common to where this should be keeping you at full health basically at all times. And the last card in this deck is going to be Reload Drills, which is going to give us plus 20% reload speed and plus 25% weapon swap speed. Now, I know this one seems a little bit random in a melee deck, but the reason why I wanted to put this card in the deck, and I was actually playing Guns Out in this slot last time I made a melee deck, but the reason being is with the Children of the Worm update, there's, you know, stuff like Crones and, you know, all the other new Children of the Worm enemies that we have to deal with, and a lot of them, like slashers and stuff like that, it's really inconvenient to have to deal with them with a melee weapon, and you'll oftentimes just die if you try to take out a slasher with like a bat or a machete or something like that. And it just makes it so you have to use your gun. And we don't have any other reload speed cards in this deck, or we don't have any other weapon swap speed cards in this deck. Like we don't have anything that even tacks that on as a small side effect. So I think that having weapon swap speed in melee is actually not that bad now, because you actually do, you know, have to switch between your shotgun and your melee a considerable amount if you have the Children of the Worm DLC guys coming at you. Well, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Make sure to leave a comment down below telling me any deck changes that you guys would make, and as always, if you happen to enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more awesome Back 4 Blood content just like this. Also, make sure to check out the link to my Discord server. It's going to be down in the description below. You guys can use it to find teammates to play Back 4 Blood with, so if you guys are in some dire need to teammates, make sure to come check out the Discord server. And until next time, it's been Red, and I'll see you guys in the next video.